The day my husband locked me out of our penthouse was the day he accidentally unlocked something far bigger. He thought he took everything from me, the home, the money, the life we built together. But he didn't know I was holding a worn-out blue card my father gave me years ago. A card so old the logo was fading, but powerful enough to make a bank manager stand up in fear. I had walked into that lobby with only a duffel bag and a broken heart, but I walked out carrying a secret that could change my entire destiny. People say when life pushes you to the ground, you rise stronger. But I didn't rise. I transformed. And the man who tried to destroy me, he had no idea that the woman he humiliated yesterday would become the woman he kneeled in front of tomorrow. This is not a story about revenge. It's a story about rebirth, about a father's hidden legacy, and how a single forgotten card brought an empire crashing down. When Zara Okoye returned to Atlanta after 2 weeks caring for her sick mother, she expected a warm hug from her husband. She expected home, peace, a moment to breathe again. Instead, the moment she tapped her key fob on their penthouse door, beep, beep, red light, access denied. She blinked, confused, tried again. Same thing. Before the confusion settled, the door swung open. Khalil stood there, silk robe, cold eyes, and a bright red lipstick stain on his neck. Khalil, why isn't my key working? I changed the locks, he said, not a hint of shame in his voice. Then a woman called from inside the penthouse. Babe, who is it? If it's salespeople, just send them away. Milan stepped into view, younger, smug, draped in Zara's robe like it belonged to her. She gave Zara a slow, insulting look from head to toe. Oh, not a solicitor. It's the ex-wife. Zara's jaw clenched, but she didn't argue. She didn't cry. She simply memorized Milan's face, slowly, carefully. Khalil, what is this? She asked. He stepped into the hallway and closed the door behind him, leaving Milan smiling in the warm glow of Zara's former home. The elevator ride down felt like freefall. Khalil, talk to me, Zara whispered. You left for weeks. I needed a partner who was present. I moved on. So, because I took care of my sick mother, you replaced me? Milan understands me better. In the lobby, a security guard rolled up Zara's old duffel bag, the same one she carried when they first moved to Atlanta, young and hopeful. He tossed it at her feet. Some clothes fell out. Then a brown envelope dropped on top. Divorce papers. Everything's in my name. Sign 'em. You came with nothing, you leave with nothing. People paused to watch. Zara didn't scream. She didn't plead. She just lifted her chin a little, a tiny spark he didn't notice. Khalil, don't do this, she said, voice steady but breaking at the edges. Security, he snapped. 2 guards guided her out. The massive glass doors closed behind her with a hiss, shutting off 10 years of her life. The city lights were just starting to glow when Zara wandered down Peachtree Street with her duffel bag. Restaurants buzzed. People laughed. She felt invisible, moving through a world that wasn't hers anymore. She sat on a bench in Centennial Park. Her stomach tightened with hunger. She checked her wallet, $10, just enough for nothing. Her bank app loaded slowly on 4% battery. Balance, $0. Khalil had drained everything. A shaky breath escaped her, but she didn't break. She went quiet. The kind of quiet that comes before a shift. As she shuffled through the wallet again, a faded photo slipped out. Her father, smiling. Behind it, a worn blue debit card. Edges peeling. Logo barely visible. She ran her thumb across it. His voice echoed in her memory. Only use this if life ever corners you. I made sure you'll never be trapped. Tonight, she'd been cornered.
Okay, Papa, she whispered. I hear you. At 8 a.m., she walked into Heritage Bank of the South. Small, old, almost frozen in time. A young teller named Jordan greeted her. "How can I help you today?" She placed the faded card on the counter. "I need to check the balance. The card's very old. I don't remember the PIN." Jordan typed her name. Paused. Typed again. Brows rising slowly. "That's strange," he murmured. Another few keystrokes, and the color drained from his face. "One moment, ma'am." He hurried to the manager's office. Mr. Malik, stern and composed, walked over. "What's the problem?" Jordan pointed at the monitor with a trembling hand. Malik leaned in, stopped, looked at Zara, then the screen, then back at Zara with a different kind of stare. "Miss Okoye, please come with us." They locked the bank doors. Zara's heart thudded. "Am I in trouble?" Malik shook his head and opened a dusty folder. "No, but your father left you something uncommon." He typed in a code and turned the monitor. "Miss Okoye, this isn't a normal bank account. It's the master account for a corporation your father created." "A corporation?" "My father sold tobacco." "No. Your father was a quiet land broker, very successful, and very private." He clicked into another tab. Deeds, maps, ownership records. 2,000 acres of valuable land in South Georgia, all under her name, hidden unless she ever hit financial rock bottom. Zara stared at the screen, breath frozen. Malik slid a yellowed envelope toward her. "He left this for you, only to be opened if you ever access the account." Her hands trembled as she unfolded the letter. "If you're reading this, my child, life has pushed you into a corner. Don't collapse. Don't give anyone the satisfaction of watching you fall. Use what I left you. Build your future. Let no one decide your worth. This is your anchor, not to pull you down, but to lift you higher than anyone expected." A tear slid down Zara's cheek, not from heartbreak, but recognition. The version of her Khalil tried to erase, she was gone. Something sharper was taking her place. She tucked the letter away, exhaled slowly, and stood straighter than she had in months. She didn't have money. She didn't have a home, but she had land, power, a legacy, and she was done being quiet. "Mr. Malik," she said softly, "tell me what I need to do next." And that moment, exhausted, hungry, betrayed, was the exact moment Zara Okoye stepped into the life she was always meant to claim. Zara didn't remember walking out of the bank. She stepped into the sunlight like someone shedding her old skin. And for the first time since Khalil slammed the penthouse door in her face, she didn't feel small. She felt dangerous. A quiet, controlled danger. The kind nobody sees coming until it's too late. "All right, Papa," she whispered. "I'm listening." She didn't wander. She moved with purpose. A new phone, a new number, a new beginning. In the restroom mirror of a small store, she looked at herself. Eyes tired, hair flat, clothes wrinkled. She didn't flinch. "Let him think I'm broken. Let them all think that." Her voice didn't shake. Not anymore. Back in the budget hotel, she opened the folder the bank manager had given her. The files felt heavier now. Not like documents, but like a weapon. Her father had designed this. A corporation wrapped in silence, protected by time, waiting for the exact moment she'd need it. Okoye Legacy Holdings, LLC. She ran her fingers over the bold letters. "What were you preparing me for, Papa?" And then she answered herself. For this. For the moment when love betrayed her. For the day she'd need to rise alone. She needed an expert. Someone who could turn land and legacy into leverage and power. Malik had given her a name. Siku Grant, corporate restructuring consultant. Cold reputation, zero tolerance for incompetence, and the man rumored to fix failing empires with surgical precision. Zara took a breath and headed to Midtown. The skyscraper felt like pure steel, reflecting the clouds like a blade. Inside, Zara walked straight to the receptionist. "I'm here to see Siku Grant." "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but tell him this. Zara slid a document across the counter. I'm the owner of Okoye Legacy Holding, 2,000 acres, time-sensitive trouble. That got her in. The conference room was large, cold, and silent. Zara waited only a minute before the door opened. Sekou walked in like a man carved from stone. Tall, symmetrical features, expression unreadable. He wore a crisp shirt, sleeves down, and in his hand, a small black leather notebook. Worn at the edges, no logo, no labels, just faint indents from where a pen had pressed into the cover. He didn't look up immediately. He opened the notebook, flipped to a page marked with a thin piece of black ribbon, and wrote something quickly, a coded symbol Zara couldn't decipher. Only then did he speak. I've got 10 minutes, he said without sitting. What's the issue? Zara didn't sit either. She laid the folder on the table, opened it, and let him see the inheritance. My father left me 2,000 acres in South Georgia, plus a dormant corporation. I don't know how to run land. I don't know its value. I don't know where to start. Sekou's eyes sharpened. And you're coming to me because there's also a personal problem. Her voice turned flat. My ex-husband, a developer, Khalil. He doesn't know about this. But if he finds out, he'll come for it. Sekou lifted an eyebrow slightly, the closest things he's shown to curiosity. What do you want? I want you to help me restructure this company from the ground up. Make it profitable, shield it, and teach me enough to defend it myself. Sekou closed the black notebook with a soft thunk. You look like someone who's been through hell this week, and I look like someone who's not going back. There was a beat of silence. Then Sekou gave a short, approving nod. Fine, let's begin. They worked for 2 hours. Land valuation, tax structuring, corporate filings, agricultural revenue models, risk analysis.
Zara took notes until her hand cramped. At one point, Sekou slid her a worksheet. Calculate the annual yield projection, he said. She tried, but her numbers didn't add up. Her brain fogged. She pressed her fingers to her temple. This makes no sense, she muttered. You miscalculated water usage, Sekou said blandly. Start again. She corrected it, then misread a depreciation chart. Sekou tapped his black notebook twice. Not impatient, not rude, just a signal. Focus, he said. She swallowed her embarrassment, straightened her posture, and tried again. This time, she nailed it. Sekou gave a short nod, a tiny approval that somehow felt more meaningful than any compliment Khalil had ever handed her. You learned fast, he said. I have to, Zara replied. When the meeting ended, Sekou closed his notebook and looked at her like he was evaluating something deeper. He said, we'll rebuild your company, but be prepared. This won't be smooth. Zara met his gaze without flinching. Good. Smooth never taught me anything. By the next day, she had traded her tired clothes for clean, structured ones. She bought a sleek business phone with encrypted communication. She booked a suite under her own company name. She wasn't living, she was building. From morning until midnight, she and Sekou worked. Day 2, she learned soil evaluation and land revenue mapping. Day 3, she learned legal structures, LLC protections, and resource management. She messed up again, a zoning assumption, and Sekou's silence pushed her to figure out the correct path. Day 5, she began anticipating Sekou's questions before he asked them. Day 7, she presented her own basic restructuring outline. Sekou tapped his black notebook once, the smallest sign of approval. Day 10, the foundation of her new company was solid. Okoye Legacy Holdings wasn't a dormant inheritance anymore. It was a weapon. But Atlanta was small, and secrets didn't stay quiet. One evening, Sekou's assistant knocked lightly on the door. He said, there's noise in Buckhead. Developers are talking. Someone's buying land.
Someone's working with Sekou Grant. Zara froze. She asked, "Who knows?" The assistant said, "Not many." But Khalil's name came up. Sekou looked up from his notebook. What did he say? The assistant took a breath. He said, and I quote, "Whoever thinks they're the new player in his territory should be ready for war." Zara leaned back slowly. War? He wanted war? She traced a nail across the edge of her father's deed. Once, she might have cried, begged, collapsed. Not anymore. She said, "Let him come." She didn't say it dramatically. She didn't say it emotionally. It was a controlled fire. She added, "This time, he won't be fighting the woman he knew." Sekou closed his notebook with a soft snap. He asked, "You ready?" Zara looked at the maps, the blueprints, the empire forming under her fingertips. She said, "I'm more than ready. I'm built for it." And that night, in a quiet midtown office full of maps and strategy, Zara Okoye didn't just prepare for war, she became the war.
Zara stepped out of the hotel elevator before sunrise, and something inside her felt unfamiliar. Not fear, not anger, something colder, sharper. She felt dangerous, the kind of dangerous that comes from being underestimated too long. She walked through the quiet hallway with purpose, no hesitation, no second guessing. Her steps echoed like decisions already made. At 7 a.m., she reached Sekou's office. The lights were dim except for one lamp on his desk. He was already there, writing in his black leather notebook, the pen making soft, controlled scratches. "You're early," he said without looking up. "So are you." "I'm always early. I'm learning." He closed the notebook and finally looked at her. "Good. You'll need it. I'm throwing you into your first real fire today." Her pulse flicked fast. "What kind of fire?" "You're meeting someone important and unpredictable." He paused. "A broker named Edison Ward." Zara's stomach tightened. Not fear, something sharper. She'd heard that name whispered in Khalil's old meetings. Not fondly, not safely. That name, that's not a broker. That's a warning. "Good. You're paying attention." He walked her to the table where documents were laid out with surgical order. Ward is old school, knows land better than anyone. He's blunt, ruthless, and, Sekou looked directly at her, he used to work with your ex-husband. Zara's lungs held still for a moment. "Worked with him?" she asked. "How did that end?" Sekou's jaw tightened the smallest bit. "Badly. Ward doesn't talk about it, but from what I've heard," he paused. "Khalil burned him." A flick of pain hit Zara's chest, not from missing Khalil, but from recognizing a pattern. So, Ward might hate me by association, or he might underestimate you. That would be his mistake. Zara steadied her breath. "What do you need me to do?" "Lead the meeting." Her eyes widened. "Me? Do you want this empire or not?" Zara didn't hesitate again. "I do." "Then step up." Sekou tapped his notebook twice. Approval, signal, go. The steakhouse was quiet, dim, filled with the smell of grilled meat and old money. At the back booth, Edison Ward sat with a posture that said he wasn't here to impress anyone. Large man, gray beard, sharp eyes. He looked like he'd seen enough of the world to stop pretending he hadn't. He saw Zara first, then Sekou. "You brought her," Ward chuckled. "Oh, this is going to be real interesting." Zara slid into the booth before he could gesture. Calm, steady, unbothered. "Good," she said. "I hate boring meetings." Ward snorted. "You got a quick mouth." "Good. I like that better than fake smiles." He leaned back, studying her face like reading a weather map. "You a Koje's girl?" Zara stiffened. "You knew my father?" "Knew him," Ward scoffed. "He ran circles around every crook in Georgia without breaking a sweat. Smartest man I ever did business with, and the most paranoid." Zara's voice softened. "He had reason." Ward nodded. "So what you want from me?" Zara opened her folder. "I want a full evaluation of my land.
Soil, water, crop options, long-term potential. Ward grinned slowly. You? You don't know a damn thing about land. No, she said. And that's exactly why I'm here. Ward reached for the deeds. I'll tell you this, girl. If these papers are real, this land is worth more than your ex-husband's entire company. Zara didn't blink. I know. Ward's smirk faltered for a moment. Your father didn't trust anybody, not even me. So, how'd he give all this to you? Because he knew I'd need it. Ward froze, just for a second, like her words punched something old in him.
Then he flipped another page, and his expression changed. Oh, hell, he muttered. You got the South Ridge, too? Zara frowned. The South Ridge? Ward leaned forward. The place where Khalil screwed me over, where he stole a contract right of under me 10 years ago. Zara's hand tightened around her pen. What happened? She asked. Ward's jaw locked. He promised me a partnership, then stabbed me in the back and took the land for himself. Dirty. Real dirty. Zara absorbed that. Her ex-husband's cruelty wasn't new, just deeper than she'd realized. Ward finally looked her dead in the eye. You sure you ready for the kind of fight this'll bring? Zara didn't blink. I'm not scared of him anymore. Ward laughed, loud, real. Well, damn, I like you. Fine, I'll help you evaluate the property. Good, Zara said. And I want your transparency. He smirked. That'll cost you 15%. 7%. He blinked. You serious? 10, Zara said calmly, and you send full reports. No surprises. Ward stared at her like testing a wire for electricity. Then he grinned. All right, girl, 10%. You got a deal. Sekou opened his black notebook and wrote something quickly, a coded mark Zara couldn't read. Ward stood and offered his hand. Zara gripped it firmly. Call me the second your ex sticks his nose in. I've been waiting a long time to shut that man up. Zara's voice dropped to a near whisper. He won't be smiling for long. Outside, the air was cooler. Zara's nerves buzzed with adrenaline as she and Sekou stepped onto the sidewalk. I did well? She asked. Sekou tapped his notebook twice. You led the room. Ward doesn't respect easily. Zara breathed out slowly. The first hint of pride warmed her chest, but her phone buzzed. A notification. Unknown number. She opened it. Didn't think you'd ever step into business meetings. Cute. Tell her I remember everything. K. Zara's blood chilled. Not fear, just realization. He was watching. Sekou leaned over. He's poking, testing your reaction. I won't get one, Zara said. But her screen lit up again. A second message. Don't let her get too comfortable. This city belongs to me. Zara's fingers tightened around the phone. Not shaking, holding. Still ready for war? Sekou asked. Zara lifted her chin. I'm past ready. I'm prepared. She slipped the phone into her bag and kept walking, heels tapping steadily against the sidewalk. For the first time, the city didn't feel like something she had to fit into. It felt like something she was about to take, and she wasn't playing to survive. She was playing to win. Zara's phone vibrated against the nightstand before the sun even rose. For half a second, she forgot she wasn't in her old penthouse with marble floors and warm lighting. Then reality hit. Beige hotel walls, cold air, the faint hum of the mini fridge. Her old life was gone. Her new one was being built brick by brick. She sat up, inhaled, grabbed her phone, and read Sekou's message. We need to talk. Now. No explanation, no greeting, just urgency. Her heart jumped. Not fear, but something close, something old. A memory of every time Khalil sent a text just like that, before tearing her down. Her fingers trembled once, just once, then steadied. Not anymore. She dressed fast and headed to the elevator, her pulse ticking like a clock, counting down. At 6:45, she stepped into Sekou's office. He was at the table,
The black notebook open, sleeves perfectly rolled, posture sharp. But he wasn't writing. He was waiting. What happened? Zara asked. Sakul turned the notebook toward her. Only one coded symbol marked the page, but his eyes held the meaning. A problem. A big one. Khalil filed a notice of interest on one of your father's properties, Sakul said. Zara froze. What? He's claiming intent. No legal weight, but heavy strategic weight. Zara's jaw clenched. He's trying to make my land look unstable. Yes, Sakul said, which keeps investors away. He's isolating you, cutting off your support. He paused, like he used to. The words struck her. Memories flickered. Her hand tightened, nails biting calm. One tremor of the old fear. Then she smothered it. He won't isolate me again, she said quietly. There's more. Sakul slid his tablet over. Ward texted, someone contacted him anonymously asking for your evaluation reports. Zara's stomach dropped. Who? He doesn't know, but Ward's sure it was Khalil. Even silence has a voice. Zara exhaled through her nose. He wants the appraisal to know exactly what he's trying to steal. Sakul nodded. And he's moving fast. Zara felt a coil of fire tightening inside her. Then so do we. Sakul shut the notebook. We're visiting your north property today. It's the most vulnerable. If he's targeting anything first, it's that one. Zara didn't hesitate. Let's go. The drive to South Georgia was quiet. Not heavy, but focused. Zara stared out the window at long stretches of land and sky, feeling each mile pull her deeper into her father's world. When they arrived, the north property stood wide and lonely. Grass swayed like the land was breathing, soil dark and rich beneath the surface. It felt old, important. Zara stepped out and let the wind hit her. She knelt, scooped a handful of dirt. This was her father's last message to her. Not words, but land. This is good soil, Sakul said, scanning. If nurtured right, this land could pay for itself 10 times over. Zara watched the dirt fall from her fingers. So why is this the vulnerable one? Sakul pointed toward the sagging wooden shed at the far edge. That's where the previous owner kept original water rights documents. If Khalil gets those, he could challenge ownership. Zara didn't answer. She was already walking. The shed door creaked violently and snapped at the hinge when she pulled. Inside was dim, thick with the smell of rot. Boxes lined the wall. Zara opened one. Empty. She opened another. Empty. A flicker of anxiety tightened in her throat. Then she opened the third box. Her breath punched out of her. Pages. Ripped. Shredded. Destroyed. Someone got here, Sakul murmured. Not someone, Zara said. Him. She scanned the floor, and her heart lurched. A still wet boot print, and beside it, a cigarette ash crushed into the dirt. Zara stared at it, chest tightening. Khalil didn't smoke, not normally, except when he was angry, or stressed, or plotting. Her jaw set. He was here, she whispered, hours ago. Sekou picked up a torn strip of paper. Your father's signature used to be on this. Zara's hands curled into fists. He's trying to erase the past so he can steal the future. Sekou looked at her. What do you want to do? Zara turned toward the open land, the sun beating down on fields that belonged to her by blood and legacy. We hit first, she said. No more reacting. We go offensive. Sekou studied her for a long moment, then tapped his notebook twice. What kind of move? He asked. Zara's eyes hardened. Something public, something loud, something that tells the whole city, the land is mine, and I'm not scared. Sekou closed the notebook with a soft snap. Just know, once we do this, the war stops being quiet. Zara didn't blink. I'm done with quiet. They drove back to Atlanta mid-afternoon. Zara reviewed documents, typed notes, and ran numbers in her head. But something felt off, like the land hadn't been the end of Khalil's move, only the beginning. Her phone buzzed, unknown number. Her pulse jumped, not fear, but the memory of fear. She unlocked the screen. A photo, the north property, taken from the shade of a tree, and under it, nice view. Thinking of building something real special there. Maybe I'll visit again. Minus K. Zyra felt the world narrow. He wasn't just watching. He had been watching her, exactly where she stood. Seku's expression darkened as he read over her shoulder. He's escalating fast. Zyra tightened her grip on the phone. So will I. She scrolled towards contact and hit call. He picked up instantly. You ready for the storm, girl? Ward asked. Voice rough? No, Zyra said, staring at the photo with steady fury. I'm ready to strike first.
Ward never slept, and neither did Zara. The day was supposed to start quietly, but quiet didn't belong in her life anymore. Not after what Khalil had done, not after the picture he'd sent, not after standing on her father's land and feeling the ghost of betrayal in the dirt. She stepped into Seku's office just after sunrise. He stood at the window, back stiff, hands in his pockets. His black notebook lay open on the table behind him, a single coded mark at the top of the page. He didn't turn. That photo he sent, Seku said, voice low, was taken this morning. Zara's pulse sharpened. You're sure? He was there at dawn, hours before we arrived, before the registrar opened, before Ward woke up, before anything. Zara's jaw locked. He's trying to stay ahead. No, Seku said, finally turning to her. He's trying to bait you, to make you sloppy. Zara pulled out a chair and sat, leaning forward, elbows on the table. What's our move? Seku tapped his pen once on the notebook. Your father predicted this. Every one of your properties has a built-in safety clause. Zara blinked. A safety clause? It freezes third-party claims if you convert any portion of the land into temporary public use development. Zara stared at him, slowly understanding. That would block Khalil's notice of interest. Exactly. He can't challenge public land. Zara exhaled, the idea igniting something in her chest. And it would show the city I'm not scared. Seku nodded, and force him to reveal what he's really after. Ward arrived minutes later, smelling like gasoline, leather, and a long history of trouble. He slumped into a chair, cracking his neck. You really want to poke the bear, girl? Zara didn't look up from the documents. I want the bear to know he doesn't own the forest. Ward barked a rough laugh. Oh, that's cold. I like it. We go public at 3, Seku said. I'll get the press. I got old reporter buddies. Some owe me favors. Some still owe me their dignity. Zara met his eyes. I want this loud. He grinned. Loud is what I do. By 3 p.m., the open farmland was buzzing with reporters, cameras, and curious locals. The podium stood in the center like a battlefield marker. Zara stood behind it, calm but aware of the eyes on her. For one moment, one tiny moment, her breath hitched. Not fear, a flash of memory. Every time Khalil stood in a room and made her feel small. Every time he talked over her. Every time he rewrote the truth while she stayed silent. That ache flickered, then sharpened into steel. She stepped to the microphone. My name is Zara Okoye, daughter of Emmanuel Okoye and rightful owner of the Okoye legacy properties. Cameras clicked like rain. Today, I'm announcing the Okoye Agricultural and Conservation Initiative, 800 acres dedicated to sustainable farming, education, and community development. Reporters shifted, murmurs rising. This land will be used with integrity, purpose, and transparency. A reporter lifted her hand. Why now, Miss Okoye? Zara didn't hesitate. Because someone has recently attempted to undermine the security of this land. The crowd stirred. And I'm not intimidated. I'm not hiding. And I'm not backing down. Flash, flash, flash. Miss Okoye, another reporter called. Is it true that Mr. Ford has already filed legal actions against your inheritance? A few gasps. Ward muttered under his breath. Nosy bastard. Zara didn't flinch. Anyone can file paperwork. Not everyone can defend it. The crowd erupted. Whispers, murmurs, cameras snapping faster. Ward let out a low whistle. Sekou tapped his notebook once. Approval. Zara stepped away from the podium to a wave of noise, shock, and admiration. The fight wasn't in the shadows anymore. It was public, exactly where she wanted it. Back in Sekou's office, they watched the live stream replay. Public comments were exploding. She's dangerous. She's smart. Khalil's sweating. I'd vote for her and I don't even know for what. Zara didn't smile, but a flicker of pride settled in her chest. But it didn't last long. Sekou's phone buzzed. He looked at it and his expression hardened. "What?" Zara asked.
He turned the screen toward her. Breaking news. Developer Khalil Ford announces 5 p.m. press statement. Ward leaned forward. "Ooh, he's pissed." "He's cornered," Sekou corrected. "Cornered men bite." At 5 p.m., they watched Khalil's press conference live. Khalil stood behind a podium in a perfectly tailored navy suit. But Zara noticed something immediately. His jaw was too tight. His hand gripped the podium too hard. His smile was slightly crooked, a crack. He wasn't calm. He was rattled. "Thank you all for being here," he began, voice smooth but stretched thin. "I wasn't planning to speak today, but I was blindsided by misinformation regarding property disputes." Zara's stomach tightened. He continued, milking sympathy like he'd practiced it. "A certain individual, someone I once deeply cared for, is spreading misleading claims." Zara closed her eyes briefly, a tight breath. The line stung, not because she believed him, but because she once did. Sekou watched her carefully. "You okay?" She nodded once. "Yes, keep watching." Khalil went on. "I will not stand by while someone drags my name into their personal issues." Ward scoffed. "Ooh, he's sweating through that suit." Then Khalil's expression shifted, cold behind the smile. "I have discovered old financial irregularities involving the Okoye estate that raise serious questions about ownership legality." Zara's breath faltered for a half second. The old ache hit, the ache of someone rewriting her story again. But then it sharpened. "He's lying," she whispered. "Of course he is, but lies move fast. And until these issues are resolved, I will be filing to freeze any sale or development of Yokoye properties." Ward slammed the table. "Oh, hell no. He can delay things, but he can't win. Not legally. This is strategy, not truth." Zara stared at the screen as Khalil smiled that familiar smile, warm on the surface, venom underneath. The man who made her doubt herself. The man who lied with a kiss. The man who spun reality until she didn't recognize her own. "Not anymore. This isn't about hitting him," she said softly. "It's about exposing him." Ward grinned. "And girl, do I got stories about him that the public would eat up." Sekou tapped his notebook twice. "You ready?" Zara lifted her chin. "He thinks he started this war." Her voice dropped, cold and certain. "He doesn't realize I already launched the first strike."
Zara didn't sleep that night, not because she was scared, but because everything was finally clear. Khalil had shown his hand. He wanted her inheritance blocked. He wanted her credibility destroyed. He wanted to force her back into the box he once controlled. But that meant something even more important. He was desperate, and desperate men make mistakes. At 6 a.m., she walked into Sekou's office. No makeup, no armor, just focus. Sekou looked up from his black notebook. "You ready?" he asked. Zara exhaled slowly. "Yes, we have 2 moves on the table," he said. "One clean, one messy.
Ward walked in behind her, holding a coffee cup, like it owed him money. "Go messy," he said. "It's more fun." Zara shook her head. "No, I want precision." Saku nodded. "Good, because I found something." He slid a document across the table. Zara standed, her heart tightening as she recognized the handwriting. Her father's handwriting. What is this?" she whispered. "It's a dormant clause in your father's LLC, one that only activates if the estate is challenged." Zara looked up. "Activate how?" Saku's eyes sharpened. "It grants you the right to launch a full forensic audit of any connected financial activity over the past 10 years. Zara froze. "Connected to my father?" "Connected," Saku repeated slowly, "to anyone who ever handled his land." Zara felt her pulse thrum under her skin. "Khalil worked on my father's land deal 3 years ago." Ward grinned. "Exactly." Zara inhaled sharply. "If I file this audit, his books get opened, his investors get questioned, his permits get examined. Everything he's ever hid comes crawling into daylight. And he can't stop it?" she asked. "No, because he challenged you first." Ward let out a long, low whistle. "Girl, you 'bout to peel that man like an onion." They drafted the filing. 3 signatures, 1 seal, 1 click. Zara read the last line aloud. "A full investigation into all transactions, permits, contracts, and assets associated with Mr. Khalil Ford." Ward stretched his back. "Ooh, that's gonna hurt." Saku closed his notebook. "This is the strike he won't recover from." Zara hesitated for just a moment, one flicker of old hurt. "He'll say I'm doing this because I'm bitter." Saku looked at her, really looked at her. "Are you?" Zara shook her head slowly. "No, I'm doing this because he lied, because he manipulated, because he thinks women can be erased." Ward muttered, "Now that's the truth." Zara pressed her thumb on the digital signature pad. "File it." Saku hit send. War. Real war. Not texts, not rumors, not whispers. This was public, legal, permanent. By noon, every business outlet in Atlanta had the headline, "Breaking. Okoye Estate files major audit against developer Khalil Ford. Sources say investigation could uncover fraud." A clip spread like wildfire. Reporters chasing Khalil outside a building, shouting questions. And for the first time, the cracks showed. His smile twitched. His voice cracked. He snapped at a reporter. Actually snapped. "I didn't do anything wrong. Get that camera out of my face." Ward cackled. "Oh, he's melting." Zara watched quietly, heart steady. She didn't gloat. She didn't celebrate. She simply breathed. "So what happens next?" she asked. Saku flipped open his notebook. "He'll try to shift the narrative. He'll try to paint you as vindictive. He'll call you emotional. He'll claim you're unstable." Ward snorted. "He'll call you everything except what you really are." "And what's that?" Zara asked softly. "Smarter than him," Ward added, "and colder." Zara looked out the window. The city glittered beneath morning light. A city she once felt lost in. Not anymore. "My father believed in me," she said, "and Khalil bet everything that I would never believe in myself." She turned back to the 2 men. He made the wrong bet. At 4 p.m., a knock sounded at Saku's door. Not firm, not polite, urgent. Ward opened it. A young intern stood there, breathless. "Miss Okoye, someone's waiting for you downstairs." Zara frowned. "Who?" The intern swallowed. "Mr. Ford?" Zara's blood chilled. Ward moved immediately. "No, hell no. He doesn't get near her." "It's fine," Zara said quietly. "Let him in." Saku arched his eyebrow. "You sure?" Zara nodded. "I'm not afraid of him anymore." Ward muttered, "I am," but stepped aside. The door opened. Khalil walked in. If you enjoyed this story, stick around. We're building something powerful here, something real. And if you're with me, we rise together.